Record. All right. We're recording. Good evening, everybody. Well, it's evening here in Chicago, and this is the start of Klein Artist Works, wow, 24, which means I have had 23 groups of artists teaching me all this stuff before you. And I have been doing this for 30-something years before that. Over that period of time, I have learned a whole lot. And I'm real interested in sharing it with you guys. I've also, through doing this, I had an art gallery for a long time. Also, through doing this course, I've interviewed a few hundred successful artists and asked them what they did, how did they get successful? And the answers have been really impressive and to a large extent, fairly common, fairly consistent, fairly the same kinds of things that I hear repeatedly. And it's real clear to me that all of you, every single artist, can be successful. That's kind of fabulous. That's kind of wonderful. That's kind of delightful. And the answer is, you know, what is it that somebody said they can't hear anything. I'm going to unmute this for a second. Is anybody having trouble hearing me? Who am I going to? Shay. Can you hear me, Shay? I don't know if you're muted or not.
I can hear you fine.
Okay, good. I'm going to keep going. Thank you. I think every artist can succeed, and it's because, well, we are all unique. Every person on this planet is different. All of us have something different to offer. All of us are interested in people who are different than ourselves. All of us are interested in others as a sounding board to help us grow, to help us determine who we are, to help us see what we're doing on this planet. In one of the webinars that I shared with you, and I don't know if you've had an opportunity to look at it, Camille Seaman talks about you, me too, being a billion years in the making. You are here for a reason. Get on with it. She doesn't quite say what the reason is. You know, and I think all of us have a different reason. I feel like I'm a house guest on this planet and I'm supposed to leave it in better condition than when I walked in or when I landed or whatever. That's a continual challenge, and that's what I'm talking about. Martha Graham, who is a fabulous dancer, talks about how each of us, because we are unique, have a unique way of expressing ourselves, a unique way of funneling, processing the information that we get from the universe. And if we throttle it, it never gets expressed. We don't have the right to be in the business of throttling our expression. We need to be in the business of sharing our expression so that other people might be able to see it and might be able to not have to suffer whatever it was that we suffered to find that expression. It's doable. But, you know, I mean, take a look. There are so many artists we are aware of who are successful, and we don't think they are worthy. And there's so many musicians who we think are successful and we don't like their music. And there's people whose art we revere and think is insanely wonderful, and they're not getting any traction. You know, I kind of like this discussion to be timeless, but last night were the Oscars and the Academy Awards, and I turned to my wife, like after a couple of acceptance speeches, and I said, these people are giving away my talk. You know, every one of them stood up there and said, thank you. Be who you are. No matter how weird you are, go for it. Somebody's going to identify, and you're going to change their world and maybe somebody else's. That's all I'm telling you. You know, it just takes a while to get through that. It takes a while to believe that. It's not just about the art. It would be really nice if it were just about the art. It's not, hey, take a look at that. I mean, like in the last 6 months or so, the Me Too movement. Look at all these schmucks who have talent, and we don't like them because they are bad human beings. I guess the corollary is if you're a good human being, people will like you. I need to interrupt my spiel. This course is not, I don't know. I don't think it's cheap, but I think there's other art coachy type people who charge more than I do. I'm in this for you guys. I told you what my purpose is. I'm making enough money. I don't need to make more money. I need to make some money, not more money. I want to take care of you. My objective is not to make the money. My objective is for you to get what you want. Therefore, this course is 10 weeks long, and you can pay me for 10 months. My supposition is that artists are good people. If you're not getting what you want out of this, bail. And if you are getting what you want out of it, damn it, make great art and make your life work and make art wonderful. Okay? Somebody asked how I define success. I think the success is wanting to get out of bed in the morning more than wanting to stay in bed. You got something to do. Let's get on with it. That to me is, that's what gets me out of bed. You know, I got to make a difference. That's for me success. I think you could define it differently, but for me it's pretty damn simple. If I want to get out of bed, I'm being successful. So most people pay for the course over 10 months. I'm fine with that. Okay. Clearly, art is subjective. This is not like baseball or football where we can look at statistics. And if I asked all of you, name the one best artist, there would probably be a whole lot of different opinions. So it's not about being the best. It's about being sincere, real, connecting to sincere, real other human beings. Human beings. Okay? You show your art to enough people, somebody is going to like it. You know, go back to a second about what I said about us, all of us being unique. Look at all the people who are succeeding. How many of them are doing something that looks just like somebody that came before them? Most of them, if you had seen them before they got successful, you would have gone, that's not going to get you anywhere. And then they do it and you go, damn it, I wish I thought of that. You know, the trick is be you. You're not going to think of it. You know, don't try to be somebody else. I saw it on Facebook. Be yourself. Everybody else is already taken. You know, I think it's solid. Another thing, there's not one art world. There are many, many art villages. I mean, the art world we read about is Christie's and Sotheby's and auction prices and BS that really doesn't matter to any of us at all. You know, there are all these other art worlds like galleries, commissions, getting grants, selling art online, selling art solely through art consultants. I had an artist whose objective once was solely to place art in hotels, wanted her art in every hotel room in the United States. That's a worthy objective. You know, that's probably not your art village. But, you know, you are you. You're not everybody else. You're an artist. What applies to you and not everybody else. There are those tendencies out there that apply to people, you know, basically all kind of folks. but we're still all unique and individuals, and we can make sense out of this stuff and navigate our own path. All right, I think it's important to separate, excuse me, your vision from your strategy. Your vision is why you're doing this art thing. Why are you here? What is it you want to communicate? I don't think that's really negotiable. I think that's like your religion or Mac or PC. You know, you try to explain it logically, but basically it's just how I am. Same thing with your vision. Strategy, on the other hand, is negotiable, I think. Do I make it big? Do I make it small? Do I make it horizontal? Do I make it vertical? Do I make it green? Do I make it red? Do I put a frame on it? Do I not put a frame on it? You know, you can apply all those different kind of considerations. I think those you can pass judgment on. You know, back to being unique. I think it's important to trust your vision. I think you want to ask yourself, what would I do? You know, maybe you can ask what somebody else does so you can get some advice. And you can look at role models. I don't think role models are a mistake. And I think you can take a look at that. But ultimately, the real thing is this true to me? I think you're supposed to be who you are. And then I think you're supposed to be who you are some more. I think it's supposed to get a little bit uncomfortable. A little bit. And I think you're supposed to process that. I don't think you're supposed to be jumping off cliffs. You know, but I think after a gazillion years of skiing, I don't think you know where your next 5 turns are going to be. You know where your next 1 or 2 are going to be. And then you have enough faith in yourself that you're going to do it. You don't, so, baby steps. Baby steps. Kerry James Marshall, who is a brilliant, fabulous, successful, insightful artist, talks about baby steps are still moving. You're engaged, you're moving. You don't have to make giant strides. The odds are this course will make you successful. It'll make you feel like your art is fulfilling you. It is not going to happen in 4 or 5 weeks. It's going to take time. You know, being involved in art, having, you know, I mean, maybe you think it's about making money. For me, making money is like getting to the gas station. It's not my goal. It lubricates, it provides fuel for me to get to my goal. It's important. It isn't my objective. If your objective as an artist is to make money, that doesn't inspire very many people. If your objective is to see more green things growing in the world, there are people who will be inspired by that. And they'll say, that's nice, can I give you money? And they will give you money, and you will be lubricated. If your mission will be furthered. If somebody gave you $1 million, you'd still do what you're doing. If somebody gave you $10 million, you'd take 3 months off, and then you'd get back to work. You just do it bigger. It's not about the money. The money is what gets you there, but it isn't there. It's kind of tricky, but it's worth thinking about. Separating your vision from your strategy, adjust your strategy to fit your objectives. What is it that I want to accomplish? Is this moving me in that direction? Or, these are the things that I am doing, where is this likely to lead me? Am I happy with that, or do I want to modify it? This isn't about what your mom told you were supposed to do when you grew up. This is about what you're supposed to do now that you're thinking about growing up, or you are growing up. Oh, that leads me to something I was going to say later. Even when you find a gallery, you still need to be responsible for yourself. You have to be a grown-up in the art world. I know. That was hard for me to learn. The top three things, I think you need to make distinctive art. I think, and by definition, if you're making art that's true to you, it's distinctive. If you're making art that looks like somebody else, you're probably not being distinctive enough. I think to be distinctive, you want to be vulnerable. You want to reveal things about yourself that you're a little bit reluctant to say out loud. You know, you look at people who talk about this issue, and most of them, I mean, I'm thinking of singers, most of them say the more specific you are, the more general they get. You know, for me, you know, when we're talking about strategy and vision, vulnerability fits into both categories. I know that when you are vulnerable in your artwork, people all of a sudden start seeing a mirror. And they go, wow, you're so sensitive, I see myself. And that opens doors. And you don't get injured, and they get insight. That's really weird. The more substance you put in, the more they get. David Hockney talks about time. The more time you put in, the more time the viewer gives it. It was fascinating. I need to repeat the advertisement about this course being 10 weeks long, and it's $1,500, and most artists pay me $150 a month, no interest, for 10 months. And I'm here to take care of you, and if it doesn't work, tell me, and I'll say, I'm sorry, I didn't do well enough. Let's settle up. And we do. As I said earlier, I think you need to take responsibility for yourself. A gallery's not going to do it. You can't get somebody else to do it. You got to do it. It's important to see yourself as someone who has something to say. Here's something. Clearly, you only need 3, maybe 6 people in the art world, and that fits all the art villages, who care about you. 3 to 6. You know, that should be beyond your mom and dad or your kids. It should be, you know, people who are kind of involved in the art. You know, and from that, you can parlay that. And the way to do this is to take interest in other people, to ask them what's going on in their lives. Think about dating. You know, many of you are in relationships, many of you are married, many of you have been married, many of us have been married more than once. We know from dating that you don't apply to a spouse the same way many of you think you apply to a gallery. You don't apply. You walk up and you say, nice hair. And that's it. Or you walk in and say, nice gallery, and you leave. You don't walk up and say, aren't I sexy? Let's make babies. You know, that doesn't work with a gallery either. Think about it. I mean, really, I think how one grows a relationship via dating is it sort of just evolves, right? I mean, maybe you got introduced, maybe somebody said, this is the perfect gallery for you. And then you say, okay. And then hopefully you talk like adults. And you say, you look interesting. It's the same kind of notion, you know? This thing of applying doesn't quite do it for me. Attitude is really important. We got a new dog a few months ago, and we're listening to Cesar, and I think there are other dog people besides Cesar. But he spoke about what happens when you're walking your dog on a leash and you encounter another dog. And if you do like what I used to do and you pull it tight on the leash, you're communicating to the dog, danger, potentially. I've got this under control. You be on guard. Let's see what happens. The flip side is you see another dog and you relax the leash and you said, oh, look, here comes a friend. Let's say hello. And that whole attitude has the potential Doesn't mean it happens. I tried it with a coyote. It doesn't mean it happens. But, you know, think about that when you walk into an art gallery. If you walk in and you go, wow, this is beautiful, and they hear you, that's a whole lot better than, okay, I'm here. All right. I got more and more and more pages, and I'm feeling like I would like to answer some questions. I'm not sure the best way to do this, but I'm going to unmute it. So somebody, I know. Wave your hand in front of your face if you'd like to say words. Cool, nobody's doing that, huh? I don't believe you. I'm switching screens. All right, Christy, I see you. Christy, you are unmuted, go ahead.
I'm trying to figure out what my vision is. I can feel it inside. I feel it in my heart. I feel it in my spirit, but I'm having a hard time focusing on it and communicating to people what it is.
I gotta say, I think that's totally common. I mean, I think I know what my vision and everything is, but I still feel that way. And I think, you know, for me, I'm like 70 something, and I'm still learning, and I'm still honing, and I'm still improving, and my wife is encouraging me to do even more. You know, so you have a sense of purpose and you have a sense of figuring it out. I think that's a lot. I think you should, you know, I think a lot of this is accepting who we are and what we've got. And then saying, all right, what can I do with that? Let's find out.
The other day, I'm in one gallery here in my county, and my gallerist spoke to me the other day and said, well, Christy, what is your art about? And I've struggled with this. I've been trying for like 2 years to come up with a, you know, like a 2 or 3 sentences about what it's about. And so I could just kind of look at him and just kind of go, I don't know, which is not good. You know?
I decided to make some art 10 years ago, and I made some art and I showed it to a really good friend of mine. And he said he really loved it for this reason, and that reason. And I went, that's not what I had in mind at all. And I couldn't do it again. It was like, oh my God, I think it's hard. I think you can say, you know, I don't ask artists what their art's about. I ask them, what do they think it might be about?
Okay.
And like a poem, it's what you think is one interpretation. Your art might be leading you by months, and you might be learning from it. I think it sounds okay, and you accept it, and you push it a little bit.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you for that. Let me see if I see anybody else with questions. I've got 3 screens of people. Chris, go ahead. You're unmuted.
Thank you. When you spoke about the whole creating your art and not doing it for the money and stuff like that, that really spoke to me, because I'm at that point now where I really want to just be able to focus on creating the art every single day, you know, working on my craft. Do you have any advice for the person who is trying to balance that whole meeting career needs versus doing your passion, your everyday passion?
I think you've got to get to the point where you've got enough traction with sales that you can project more. And I'm real partial to the Vikings. The Vikings, not the Minnesota. The Vikings, who when they landed their ships in North America, burned them. You know, I mean, I've never had to make that kind of commitment. That takes a lot of cojones. And I like that, but man, I think you got to get your ships to land first, and then you can make the leap. So I think you got to get to a place where you're a third of the way there, you know, where the art's sustaining you a third or more, and then you can say, all right, I'm going for it. But before that, I think you're not ready.
Got it.
Okay, cool. Anybody else on this screen before I go to another one? Move some hands. All right, I'm going to go to screen number 1. You guys don't even know what screen you're on, so I don't feel like I'm being biased or anything. Hey, having cats walk behind you doesn't count as a screen. Isabella, you're unmuted. Go ahead.
Okay, Paul.
I'm like, 1 second. Are you the one with music on?
No, I'm not the one.
Let me mute everybody for a second, and then I'll unmute you again. Okay, go ahead. Nope, you're muted. Let me unmute you. I'm sorry. Hold on. Ugh. Yes, you're unmuted.
Okay. How do I know that I'm ready? Okay, my situation is I am a practicing artist. I've actually exhibited. I've won awards. I'm sitting here, I'm thinking maybe I'm not good enough. Am I doing it right? Should I practice a bit longer? So
you heard what I said about Martha Graham?
No, I didn't. I'm sorry.
Martha Graham says you don't have a right to get in your own way. You're unique. You are unique in this universe. And if you don't express your unique thoughts, they will never be heard. And you're cheating the universe. Another artist, I never worked with Martha Graham. I work with Camille Seaman. There's a talk that I've shared, and she says, you are 1 billion years in the making. You are here for a reason. Get on with it. I've had humans who said, I intend to be an artist. I have begun to paint last week. Am I ready? And I said, are you committed? And she said, yes. And I said, you are ready. And I've had artists who have been in the Whitney Biennial, and they said, I'm not sure if I'm ready. And I said, are you committed? And they said, yes. And I said, you're ready. I mean, to a large extent, this is about the art. To a larger extent, it's about life. And I think we all have lots of different roles: father, mother, child, spouse, gardener. But artist, in my book, is above it all. And everything leads into or fits into being an artist. And it's all part of what constitutes us. I'm not sure that, I guess I'm not sure. I'm like who we spoke with earlier about, I'm not sure what my vision is. I'm not sure if everybody on the planet is an artist or artists are special. I think artists are more sensitive and see better, but I think other people have different talents that are probably equal. But I think I really like artists. So yeah, I think you look committed. I mean, you sound committed. And so you're ready.
I haven't sold any of my works. Nothing. So, it doesn't particularly worry me because the fact that I can make and I'm happy with it. And the satisfaction at the end of it when I actually exhibit is all I want, really. And as you said, yes, I need something, it is in some way sustainable, even if it is to pay for my products that I use. Yeah, I've come to a point where I'm thinking, whoa, should I stop spending?
Perhaps.
Mm.
But I don't think it's a mistake to invest in yourself. I also think I'm by far the best art coach out there. And I think what I do is, I don't know if you're talking when you talk about spending, if you're talking about an art coach or better canvas. But I don't think it's a mistake to invest in yourself.
No, I don't believe it is.
I think going from one art coach to another art coach to another art coach and not making any progress probably says something more about the person than the coach.
Yes. Okay.
But maybe, I don't know. On the other hand, I'm different. I'm not saying, these are the 3 steps. Write your resume, fix your website, put hyphens in your phone number. I'm not saying those things. I'm saying be you.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I don't know. You sound interesting. I'd like to work with you. You do what you want.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
The Martha Graham, whatever you said about her, and unfortunately I didn't hear it. That really resonated with me.
Send me an email and I'll send you the whole quote.
Thank you.
Like that long.
Okay.
It's really wonderful.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You know who she is?
No.
She's no longer with us. She was a brilliant dancer, ballerina, and choreographer.
Okay. All right. I'll look her up and send you the email. Thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome. All right. Who else would like to say something? I don't see anybody. Keep waving your hands. All right, Christopher. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I've got a question about how the webinars go.
Yeah.
I think in the syllabus or the session schedule or something, you've got notes in there about discussions about, like artists and gallerists. And I was just wondering if those people are live in the webinars.
No.
Or if the recordings. And then we
No. I've been doing this course now, I'm guessing about 10 years, and it used to be live. And I realized after a while that I was really digging to find more live people that were as good as the people I'd worked with, and most of whom I knew. And I thought I really preferred the intimacy of people that I could ask loaded questions to as opposed to those that I didn't know so well. At any rate, what I'm saying is I like the recordings better than the new. A year ago or so, I added eight more. I focused on women for a summer because I was really curious about how women felt in the arts. And what I learned was really interesting. Most women under 45 felt that they were dealing with equality, and most women over 45 felt that they'd been screwed. But all of those 8 webinars were added. I don't see any reason to replace. I think the ones I got are better, or better than the ones I'd be able to go out and get.
Okay, cool.
And the expectation is that people listen to 3 to 5 of these, and I think it could be done ambiently. I've got it set up now so that you can access them all through a double login kind of system that's a little bit funky. And if you go to Amazon and send me a 32 gigabyte flash drive, I'll put all the webinars on a flash drive, and if you get a dual drive, you can plug it in your phone, and if you're driving, you can play them that way.
Oh, cool.
And then you just have them, simple.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through all the BS that I make people do.
So then the discussion is whoever is in the class and is there for that day, it's just discussing what people saw when they...
Yeah, but I'm expecting everybody who enrolls to show up.
Okay.
So it's not whoever's there that day. I mean, somebody may be absent because they're on an oil rig off Nigeria. We've got that tonight. I love that. So somebody could be absent, but not much.
Okay.
Cool. Tran, go ahead. Wait. Go ahead.
I just wanted to ask kind of that you said that you think you're the best coach out there. Can you elaborate on that and why and how are you different from other coaches?
I guess I shouldn't have said that. I'm the best because I like me. What else? I think there's some other good coaches who I pay attention to. I do a fair amount of one-on-one coaching, and sometimes I recommend other coaches to people. I think what I like about me is that I'm talking about the whole individual, and I'm making it, and it's about who you are as a unique human being. And it isn't that all these steps apply to any, to all folks. And I think almost, no, I'm going to go with, I think all other coaches have steps, how to get your resume done, etc. Allison B. Stanfield is a really good coach, I think. And she is all about being organized and, how to process all of this stuff. It's kind of formulaic. It's kind of not like me. I wrote a book that's called The Art Rules. And at a certain point, I went, wait a minute, there's some stuff I didn't cover, and hell with it. I don't feel like it. Hey, Allison, you want to do something about being organized? She said, sure. So I got other people to contribute chapters. If you are a mess muffin, Allison would probably be wonderful for you. If you know who you are and what you want to do, or have a sense of, or want to find out what you want to do, and how to get it fulfilled, and how to grow relationships, and how to make relationships work for you, and how to insinuate yourself into a situation. It's not like applying to a gallery. It's like creating it. It's like you are making this happen. It's not like you're applying for a grant. You're taking responsibility for the result occurring. And it's all of those things are doable. I see that as a different approach. I guess I would hope other people were doing it more like me. I guess.
Well, thank you.
Did that answer you enough?
Yes.
Yeah. There are other coaches I like too. Susan, go ahead. Wait a sec. Let me mute everybody so I got all that and mute all of those. Susan, you are unmuted.
Hi. I'm just wondering if I feel I used to live in Chicago, and I had a great studio environment, and I felt like I was being really productive. And I was hoping to work with you because I kind of feel a little bit stuck right now.
Yep.
Living in Naples, Florida, I haven't been here that long, and I haven't really connected with. I had a studio, but it just seems like I haven't really connected with artists that I feel a real connection with, which tends to make me more productive.
Yep.
And I'm just wondering, is what you're doing, do you address that sort of environmental kind of issues? And
yeah, well, yes and no.
Things?
I can do it right now. First of all, when you participate in this group, there's this Klein Artist Works gang Facebook page. Mm-hmm. And all these people here are posting things and bragging and asking questions about, hey, my photographs have brown light. Why? And somebody says, are you mixing daylight and natural light? And they go, well, yeah. And I say, well, don't. So there's a community here that exists, okay? Mm-hmm. There's also, this is where, there are all these enrollment options and where you can do it. Also, you guys who are listening to the recording, you can get only the recordings and not the live at a different price, and that's spelled out here. There's also, you can see all these people who've taken the course previously, mm-hmm. which in my book means they're all vetted. These are all good human beings. And if they're in common, I don't see why you can't reach out to them and say, hey, you did that Paul Klein thing? That was kind of cool. And then they can, and I like your work. Why don't we chat? And they'll go, okay, sure. So which leads me to the other point, which is I'm not convinced that where you are is any better than everywhere else. And if I'm in Chicago, I see no reason not to look for a gallery in Perth. And if you're in Naples, I don't see any reason not to look for a relationship or create a relationship in Stockholm. So I think if you look beyond Naples or beyond Florida, you have a chance of, you got a lot more potential folks. Okay?
Helpful, yes.
You are welcome. Chris, you're scratching your head and I'm not coming back to you anyway. Brent, hello, wait a second. You are unmuted, go ahead.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Yeah, hey, first of all, I wanted to just congratulate you on your YouTube video out there where you're in front of the audience. That really, I think, connected with a lot of people, and that's why I'm here. So that was really fantastic.
You know what's amazing is it was so cold that day. I mean, God, it was like 8 degrees. I mean, I remember the talk, but mostly I remember the cold. Thank you.
So my question is, during that talk, you talked about that one artist was more interested about getting long-term recognition for their art and the type of art they were doing than they were about making the immediate income. And I think his mission was more along about getting an art history book, I think, or something like that, you said. Could you discuss the difference between getting long-term recognition as a strategy versus making money now? And by the way, I just want to say I'm also in Naples, Florida. And so whoever that was that just spoke, yeah, that's pretty interesting. So yeah.
I also know a collector in Naples, Florida. I'll turn him on to you and on to him. Yeah, you know, give me the money. All right, hold on, Brent. I'm pulling up this cartoon I posted. Did you see it?
I
Hold on.
don't
One
see
sec. That's coming. I'm not there yet. Yes. Here we go. I thought this was unfortunately really brilliant. Can you see this?
Yes. Now
What about a real job like hunter-gatherer? So I guess it's like Chris asked. And Chris was asking about, I want to make the leap from straight job to artist full-time. And I said, I think you got to be at least a third of the way there before you make the leap. And maybe if you're halfway there, then you can make the leap. I think there are lots of reasons to make art, and if what you're saying to me, yours is to put bread on the table this month, I don't have a problem with that.
No, I'm actually saying the opposite. I'm saying, what if you're more interested in getting long-term recognition for, you know, what you're bringing to the art world? You know, what would a different strategy?
Personally, I'd like to be the caveman drawing on the wall. Yeah, you know, I want to be there for the ages.
Well, I'm just wondering, so it seems like a lot of what people are doing in the artwork is they're trying to get into galleries, they're trying to, you know, get recognition or, you know, get on these different platforms to try to sell their art. But what if you're more interested in getting critical reviews and things like that? Is that a different strategy? And is critical reviews, is that the way, art contests, et cetera, is that the way to, you know, potentially get long-term recognition for your work?
It's certainly one. I would argue that the most people that copy you, the number of people you influence, has, I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, Socrates did pretty well. I can think of artists from the 20s who were bigger names then than, I don't know, Jeff Koons today, and who are probably going to disappear, who disappeared probably as quickly as Jeff Koons will. I don't know. I don't know that you can have a strategy to make art for the ages. I know that I've talked to friends of mine who I thought were brilliant artists. And one artist I always referred to, Ken Price, who was an artist for the ages. And to answer your question, I don't think the strategy changes. I think it's about relationships, and I think it's about generosity, and I think it's about caring what others do. And if somebody's selling Hallmark cards, you tell them, I really love what you do. God, that's a glorious thing. I'd like to be and see my stuff there. And in this situation, you know, I think maybe it's academic or maybe it's not. You say, you know, I really love your thinking. It's influenced me, or you know, I'm really responding to it. Here's an image of mine. You can see why. You know, my son is approaching being a scholar in Hong Kong and wrote about a book about the distance. Oh, I don't know, something very Zen and Chinese. And I found a work of art to put on the cover that just really summed it up perfectly. You know, there's something nice about doing that. Something else could have gotten picked. I think for me, it's the same thing. Baby steps, putting yourself out there, being generous. Being generous is a big one. You know, to me, the essence of, I gave a talk once, and it was called "The Secret to Success is that everybody likes to talk about themselves, so don't." You know, if you listen, I mean, every time I do these things, I feel like I'm not listening. But, you know, if you listen, people like you. And if they like you, they care about you. And if they care about you, they want to see good things happen for you. And if they want that, they want to see your art get traction. And maybe they can do something. And maybe they can point you in a direction. And maybe they can't. And maybe they just give you a hug and send you on your way.
If no one else is asking a question right now, I'm also kind of curious, a different question, if that's okay.
No, I'm going to move on.
Yeah, okay.
And if nobody has, I see other questions. Virginia, you go ahead.
I love this conversation. I have to run up. I'm in my car and I have to go up the highway right now. And I hope I can, I don't know how long I'll be able to be connected.
Well, take care of yourself in the car, and, you know, we'll be here next week.
All right, great. Thank you.
All right, hon. Thank you too. Do I have any more? Christina.
Yes.
And then I'm going to go to the other person, but Christina, you go first.
Okay.
Christina, Reed, go ahead.
Hi.
Hi.
Oh, you can hear me then?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. All right. In your course, do you help people clear their own, inner conflict blockages? Because I'm thinking mirroring out to the world, aside from clearing up what your message is through your art, which is important, you kind of put that through. If you've got an inner conflict or something about something in life, whether it's race or like my background is Native, and if I have an inner conflict about that at some point, and if I'm still trying to do Native art, for example, is that going to send that negative vibe out, and then people are going to go, I don't want to see this, and then just
it could, and I would think it could, and I think if the negative vibe is true, you should probably go with the negative vibe and explore it and share it. I mean,
so like actually show that up.
Yeah, I think what I'm saying, you need to be you, and somehow or another of that. I'm hearing that's
so
part
like
of you.
I should just go with like I've had two different sort of Native themes that pop up or whatever, and then I realized, well, I could just go with all the pretty stuff and the sort of broken images, or
what else? You don't have to be consistent.
that sort of comes to mind, which is there's conflicting ideals and whatnot, because it's all political as well, and then it's it's not all going to be romanticized. It's there's a different theme with it. The other weird thing I do with some of my art is as a psychic, as a medium, I have lots of weird little visions pop into my head. So I do a lot of that as well. Oh.
I don't think, I used to think people had to be consistent. We did a webinar with Jason Middlebrook, who I've known, who's successful and pushing 50, who I've known since he was like 5 or 6, which made him comfortable interrupting me and going, Paul, that is so last century. and he said, this century, it's important to be an interesting artist. So I don't even think you need to be consistent. Okay. I'm going to move on. Thank you very much. Do I see more hands waving? Oh, I need to say one other thing. All of you get a one-on-one strategy session sometime, usually after the course. It's any time between now and forever. I don't think it makes any sense between now and the middle of the course. I think it helps to learn something from the course, which I think is going to spin your head around a little bit. And then I think we can talk about other kinds of things after that that are more particular to you. So I don't know that you have to do all that up front. I'm trying to see if I got any more hands waving. Anybody else? Julie, go ahead, Julie.
Thank
Julie,
you.
talk.
Yeah, thank you, Paul.
You're welcome.
So I'm actually getting very inspired because I've been an artist for, I don't know, 30 or 40 years. And right now I'm in a genre where I'm doing big drippy dogs and people, and I've gotten very, I mean, not very, but pretty successful at it. And what I've noticed is I've limited my world so much that it's become work. And I'm in I haven't been well lately, and I'm in a place where I'm in my studio all the time. And before, I thought it was a waste of time to be in galleries. My experience, because I wasn't making money. You know, I've been in galleries, but I wasn't making money. And now my art is, I've stopped doing the creative art. I be myself when I paint dogs, and people love them. They're real drippy, but I've stopped being creative in other ways. And now I'm thinking about being myself. And like, I almost thought it was a waste of time and energy to just do art. I don't know why, because I've been stuck in this mind frame of survival for a while. And now I'm starting to think, wait, I've got paints and paper and canvases.
Wait a minute. I think really there's two questions. One is you want to have a positive attitude. Therefore, what do you do that assists you in having a positive attitude? And
Well,
two,
yeah.
Are you committed? If you know, so I mean, I could see, I don't know, do you want to keep making the art?
Yeah, that's all I know how to do.
Does it make you feel good?
Yes.
And it sounds to me like doing predominantly dogs is too limiting and you want to be broader.
Yes, exactly.
At least for the moment.
Exactly.
Therefore, for the moment, you should be broader. I'll send you a bill in the morning.
No, but that's exactly where I'm at. I want to be broader. I want to take my energy and myself and really be committed to my art rather than what's wrong with the world right now.
Damn right.
Be in that place, because I know I used to be.
I totally agree.
Yeah, and I've been wasting time just feeling sorry for myself. And
maybe the wasting time helped you get to where you needed to be. Okay,
so I'm ready to go beyond. Absolutely, I'm excited about it because
good for you.
Yeah, I really am. I'm going to take your class.
All right, wonderful. I can keep going and I can be done. Do I see any more hands? Elizabeth and then Jacqueline. Wait a minute, there was someone who spoke earlier. Did I get to that person? I'm going with Elizabeth. Go ahead.
Hi, I wanted to know, like, how you decide who you want to approach to have your stuff in a gallery.
Say that one more time.
I want to know how you decide who you want to approach to be in their gallery.
Okay. I think you want to look for galleries that are appropriate or you expect to be appropriate within a few months for you, given who you are, what your trajectory is. I think you start with looking at artists who are friends, and you look at their websites and you see where they exhibit, and you look at other artists on those galleries' websites, and you determine by looking at those artist websites, at resumes, if they are of a somewhat similar stature to yourself. If they're David Hockney and selling for over $100 million, probably not. If they're under $5, probably not. You know, you got to hone it down. Then you look at that artist, Susie Jones, and you see where Susie is showing. And you look at the other artists that that gallery shows. And you grow a family tree essentially upside down by branching out, by looking at artists who you think resonate, or where the gallery resonates. And you seek to grow a relationship with a human being. And you write an email to a human being and you say, I came across your gallery on the internet. I absolutely love it. You seem to be really wonderful. I'm particularly responsive to Susie Jones. You guys do so much work. Please put me on your mailing list. Enclosed is, right here is one small image of mine so you can see why I'm interested. Thank you so much, Elizabeth. And then you look at art fairs that you like, that have galleries that show at art fairs. If you are of a caliber and believe that your art should be at art fairs and that art village is appropriate to you, because most curators go to art fairs because they can do one-stop shopping. So many times an artist wants to be with a gallery that goes to an art fair. So you look at the roster of the galleries that go to Art Miami or the Untitled Art Fair or Art Chicago or Houston or San Francisco, and you go through the galleries and you go through the same exercise. In my book, you write 2 new galleries every week. And you follow up every month. And you make a personal communication, and you do not expect any response whatsoever, ever. And you do not tell them much, if anything, about yourself. All the time you're telling them how much you like their hair and how pretty their shoes are. And you always attach one image and say, hey, thinking of you, hope you're well, love, Elizabeth. Or you can send them a piece that you just finished. Hey, just finished this in the studio. You came to mind. No idea why. Thought I'd send it. But basically, you know, it's like, I don't know, maybe the word doesn't have enough of a positive juice to it, but insinuate. You know, you're growing a relationship. I mean, my experience is that exercise frequently happens. 7 months later, they go, hey, dear Elizabeth, we're thinking about doing a group show that seems to actually have been inspired by you. Would you be so kind as to lend us 3 works of art?
Gotcha.
And then you do, and then they go, Elizabeth, we sold one of those. Could you bring in 2 more? And maybe we'd like to talk about a show in 8 months.
Wow. Okay.
You know, I mean, they got to be familiar with you, and they got to like you. Get them to like you first, because then they're in the right frame of mind to want to do something, you know, to want to see good things happen.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing, you guys, I don't think there's any such thing as a rejection letter. I think it's your agenda is not appropriate for my agenda letter. That doesn't say you're not worthy. It says what you're up to and what I'm up to don't mesh. When you're walking down the street looking for sexy people to smile at, have a relationship, get married to, or whatever, odds are 90% of them, maybe more, don't qualify. I'm not thinking you really rejected them. You didn't go, you're not worthy, you're not worthy, you're not worthy, you're not worthy, you're not worthy. You're not doing that. You're just going, nope, you're not it. No chemistry, sorry. That's not rejection. Don't take it personally. It's not about you. I took care of all the art for a huge convention center. A couple people here from Naples. This was I was doing this for a convention center in Chicago. They said, I showed them a great artist, and they said, we don't want you, cannot use this person. There are Disney images in her collages. We don't want anybody thinking about Orlando. So they said, we cannot use this artist. That's not rejection. That's like bonkers. All right. Anybody else? You're totally welcome. Thank you too.
Hi, Paul.
Yes, sir. Go ahead. Who's speaking?
My name is Terrence. I don't think you're seeing me raise my hand because you got so many pages.
I see you. Go ahead, Terrence.
I'm in the LAX area, Los Angeles. Well, I'm curious of what would be a good strategy in starting a gallery. I'm not a visual artist per se, but I love to have art around me, and I am committed to that, just playing with art. And I would love to start a gallery.
I would seriously consider taking this course to learn a lot about how artists think. Ed Winkleman wrote a really good book. Winkleman. Ed Winkleman. We did a webinar with Ed, and he's written 2 books. The first one's about how to start a gallery, and he's super solid. There must be others, but I don't know if you need it.
What is your thoughts on a gallery, say maybe being more of a gallery? Like usually a gallery is pretty quiet, stoic, and not much other activity. Have you ever heard of a gallery doing other activities in the gallery? Is that something
I used to all the time, man.
In the art world?
One of the things I used to do is rent out my galleries for weddings, which isn't very cultural, but it helped pay a lot of rent.
Right.
I would frequently do classical music performances on Sunday afternoon. And one Sunday, somebody came in. This is interesting. Somebody came in and bought a Sam Gilliam painting for $30,000. I have an email here from the Hirshhorn Museum that wants to borrow the painting. I would say it's worth $500,000. He only came in and bought the painting because of the classical music. And he asked the strangest questions, like, I'd like to buy the painting. I have one condition. I said, what's that? He said, will you take a check? I said, yes. He said, can you deliver it today? I said, yes. He said, okay. I think you can make it as unique as you want it to do. I would encourage you to not spend a whole pant load of money doing it until you know what you want to do. There's a fair amount of virtual galleries. Showing up at art fairs is a real education and is expensive, but is a way to do business. I'm not sure you need something more than a pretty garage to start with. I'm working with an artist also. He's got a gallery that's 9 by 7 feet.
Okay. What isn't it location on something?
He's on the 3rd floor of a walk-up in Baltimore. But the rent was so cheap, he said, what the hell, $60 a month. Maybe I can do something.
What was the size of it again?
It's 7 by 9 feet.
Okay.
He wants people to show there.
One other random question. My art form is creating events, or art-filled events. Right now, I'm planning an event which I think is one of its kind, or I've never heard of such, where people show up to the event with a piece of artwork that they're willing to gift, trade, or exchange with someone else. Everybody shows up with a piece that they're willing to
do it. I love it.
And then go home with a different piece that someone else brought that they like. The comparable value is kind of questionable, but it sounds like something new and different that I'm planning to do in my area.
I had a friend who had a gallery who did a fundraiser in Santa Fe where all the artwork had to be 12 by 12 inches. And every piece was $2,500. And some of the artists were people like Bruce Nauman, where the piece would be worth $80,000, $90,000. and some pieces would be by my third grade daughter, where the piece would be worth $12, and you paid the $2,500, and then you found out who made it. I think all of that stuff is beautiful. You know, I also feel like there's too much art ends up being made for white people with money. And I'm not real happy with that flow.
Got it.
I think a lot of people who don't have money can benefit from art. You know, 70% of Americans don't have something in their house they call art. I think they could be benefited by it. They're not going to buy it. I mean, I got a whole bunch of theories, but I don't know that I want to go there.
Thanks.
Ernst, thank you very much. Check out Ed Winkleman's book. It's good.
Okay.
Hey, you guys, we've been going on. I mean, if you're interested, I'm interested. My goal is you, so fire away. I'm learning how to pronounce names, too. Nidhi? How close did I get? Obviously, it's been mispronounced before. You're unmuted. Go ahead. Wait. How close did I butcher it? No, I can't hear you, and you are unmuted. I don't hear you. If you want to type it in the chat box, I'll try and read it. Anybody else? Or you can interrupt if you get it to work. Go ahead. Neha, go ahead. Whoops, wait.
I'm French, so I don't understand everything, but I would like to ask you if it's only in America your strategy you use. No.
You know, I work with a fair number of artists in Europe also in coaching. And, you know, I'm working with an artist in Amsterdam. I'm working with 2 artists, well, in England.
Okay.
Maybe 3. I don't think there's anything geographical about what I'm doing. I think it's an attitude about life. You know, I mean, I'm talking to Margaret from, I don't know where you are. Are you near Valence?
Sorry?
Are you near Valence? Are you near Avignon?
Oh, yeah. I'm in south of France. Yeah.
You know, sometimes I happen to look because, you know, when they send me people who sign up, it shows me some geographic link, and I happen to click on you.
Okay.
Yeah, so all right, so I work with Margaret in Amsterdam, and she just took the train to Paris to go see the Theaster Gates show. And I said, hey, Margaret, Theaster's a friend of mine. Say hi, and, you know, tell him this, and make sure you get invited to dinner. And she said, I'm shy. And I said, great, do it. And she said, okay. And then she said, I invited my curator friend, and she said she was already going. So she said she's so happy. You know, so the art world isn't very big. And I know a lot of people, and I don't know, I know more people here, but I know people everywhere.
Okay, thanks.
My French is passable.
And I know that's not about money, but we have a lot of projection and expectation about what we define to have money with our artwork. So it's sometimes is difficult to go beyond this expectation and projection, you know?
You know, with Margaret, and she wrote a testimonial, she talked about how, as a result of doing the course, she realized that all galleries and all curators were allies. You understand? They were friends, potential friends, and not gatekeepers, not someone who had the potential to be in the way. And that they were totally available to form relationships with. And she has been doing that really successfully. I don't know. I mean, my sense is that she's gifted. But that's what's working really well for her. So I don't see that the issue or the problem you're describing relates. It might be there for most people, but I don't know that it has to be there for you.
Did you feed the dog?
Hey, Terrence, I can hear you. I got to mute you or something. Maybe I'll mute everybody, but then I'm stuck. All right, so I've done that. So you know, one of the things I have difficulty with is people and artists who put obstacles in their own way. You know, when somebody says, I can't do that, and you know, this goes back to that Cesar and the leash thing. You know, if you say, I can't do that, damn it, I'm pretty sure you can't do it. But if you say, I got a shot, I'm going to go for it, then I think you can. Then I think you got a shot. I don't know, just go ahead.
I think it's exactly that. When I go to exhibition and when I exhibition my my artwork, so maybe I could be in positive attitude, but maybe inside is yeah, I can't do. So
you know what else, you guys? Watch this one.
I need to change.
When you have good news in your art career,
yeah,
when you got an exhibit, ask yourself, how did it happen? And almost every time the answer is, I don't know. It just happened. Which leads me to believe that the art world is a closed system. And if you put good energy in over here, good energy is going to come out somewhere else. Mm-hmm. And you don't know where, and you don't know when. But I think you're entitled to expect it. And if you put in good energy, you know you're a good human. And if you're a good human, you're worthy. And if you're worthy, you're entitled to get good energy back.
Okay.
You know?
I don't need to, yes, if I could do that, I don't need to ask myself, so when and what, and never mind. Yeah.
You have to ask yourself if it feels real. Does it feel good? Is this something that has potential for me? I don't care if it's 1%. Does it feel like I got a shot? I'm going to try.
Okay.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you. Anybody else want to comment, say words? Not on that screen. All right, Nidhi, go ahead. Wait. Try that. Except it ended up being Mark. I'm muting that. Where did you go? You're over here. You're muted. All right, no, you're still muted. Unmute. All right, talk. Nothing, I'm giving up. Sorry. Jacqueline, I think you wanted to say something. You're unmuted.
Yes, you called my name and then skipped over.
Apologies.
No worries. A couple of things. I want to find out. I'm fairly new at this, and I'm fairly new at my art. I've done it many, many years ago, kind of put it on the back burner, and now I'm starting back up. Is your course suitable for somebody who's just stepping back into it?
1,000% yes.
My next question is, with the course, when you're doing the online once a week, what's involved? Are you talking about videos, webinars that we have access to? What exactly are we discussing? Can you talk a little bit about the sessions that we have?
Sure. There's a video library of somewhere in the neighborhood of 290 hour-long videos, which you have access to all of forever. I ask each week that you listen to 3 to 5 of a list of about 6 or 7 that I give you. Pretty much each week we discuss those webinars and say, what did you hear that surprised you? What's different than your expectation? How did this person who you maybe should have heard of or didn't hear of or do know of, do they sound any different than you? And, you know, we deal with this with artists and collectors. You know, I mean, it's really gratifying to realize that there are collectors who are as enthusiastic as the most enthusiastic artists. You know, that's really a beautiful thing. So we go through all of these different kinds of categories, and everybody gets to talk and be heard. And I think it's this is a lot about new habits. And I think when you hear what I'm saying, it doesn't sound all that stunningly different or anything. It just went, oh yeah. But I think you need to hear it repeatedly before it sinks in. And I don't know, there's a nice community here and people end up finding themselves, and I don't know, I think it works really well for most folks. Back to the habit thing. Being new is not a bad thing. Your habits are less formed. And, you know, I mean, like an artist an awful lot of artists are going to think galleries are antithetical or not on their side and are gatekeepers. If you don't have that opinion yet, and I can share with you that they're actually your allies and your friends, and every gallery wants to see all artists succeed, but they can't help all artists, but they'd like to, but they can't. So if you see it in that mindset, you have a better attitude and we have less regrooving to do. So being fresh is good. You know, if you've been at it a while, you probably are more caustic and you have reasons to be. And we've got to ungroove you and show you that there's a whole big light there just shining and it's real doable.
Another question is, how important is an artist statement, do you think, in defining your voice or contributing to give direction to your work?
Very little. I think it's a nice hook so that when you show your art to somebody, they can look at it and go, oh, you think this is about rocks, huh? That's cool. What do you like about rocks? So I think it helps in that way. And I think if you have an exhibit and they need wall text, it's a good place to look. And I want artists to write an artist statement in the first week or 2 of the course. I'm not insisting. Because I think it helps you define what you're after. And I give you a guide to write an artist statement. That's about the only thing I think, you know, I sort of, that might fall into the homework category.
Okay, because my work is always changing, like 1 week.
I think that's fine, but I think, you know, then maybe you should write an artist statement every 3 months. And then you can throw it away. Or not. Or maybe keep them and look back. Maybe it's better than keeping a journal. You know, see what your artist statement is over a period of time. I think it helps focus your thinking, and I think that's a decent exercise.
So that's not a bad thing that your work is completely different every few months.
I don't think so. But before I'm sure, I'd want to look at the work and see what's going on. And man, I can remember having a gallery and lots of times feel like people are hedging and they're not revealing themselves. And someone who's going that broad might not be going deep enough. I've not seen any of your work, so I have no idea what I'm talking about.
And do you critique?
I would rather not.
Okay.
This is about accepting everybody.
Okay.
I do one-on-one work. I don't have the time to do critique work, and it's too subjective. I do one-on-one work also, where I'm coaching artists one-on-one, And there I need to be an advocate. I want to be, I'm not taking on somebody if I'm not willing to call a gallery on their behalf. Here I want to work with everybody. And as such, I don't know. I don't really want to do, I mean, I don't even like doing critique. I'm good at it, it's the problem. And I don't, I don't know that I can do it in under an hour. And I don't, you know, I don't know that I can give that.
Fair enough.
Okay. I think we're going to take 2 more people and be done. Nidhi, I'm not going to you. I don't believe it works. And you're unmuted, so if it works, I could hear you, and it's not working.
No, it will work now.
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm from New Delhi.
Good morning.
And I've been, good morning. I'm I'm from New Delhi and been working for more than 25 years. I want to know whether the artists, the art galleries, are they allergic to artists who are mostly on the social sites and they have a website? Because I have heard from some people that galleries don't like the artists who have their own websites and they are very active on Facebook and Instagram.
I've never heard this. I see some artists who are popular and successful who are lazy and don't have a website and expect the gallery to do it for them. I think anything short of that, basically your job is to communicate. And to communicate, you have to express yourself. And part of communication is having what you expressed be received. And you have to put it out into the world. And if you agree with me, galleries that think the way you're talking about are not appropriate for you. I'm not hearing about very many of them. I don't hear about any.
Okay. There's another question. Yeah, that I work in many media, like maybe 6 to 7 media I work in. So is that fine?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you.
One more. Who wants to be the one more? Oh, good. No more.
Dog, I want.
Okay, go. Talk.
Hi.
Hi.
Can you? Okay, thank you very much for this conversation. My name is Elisa. I am from Austria.
Hi, Elisa.
And I think that is very important to meet some people in the art world. And what do you think about Klaus Bitzenbach and what do you think about this?
Is he coming over this week?
No, I'm still in Europe, but I'm thinking that I should go to the state and meet these people, because when I'm scrolling in Instagram, I'm showing in every day them, and they're really, or he is really acting with artists.
Do you know him?
No, but I really want to know him.
I think you could write him an email, and I think you need to write about him, but I suspect he gets an awful lot of emails from people saying how much they like him.
Yes.
I think.
And also,
I think you could run into him in Basel. I think you could run into him in Basel in June.
Yes.
I imagine in June he'll be giving a talk in Basel.
Okay, thank you for the tip. Yes.
And then you go to the talk, and then after the talk, you say, "Hey, that was great," and then whatever.
Yes. That's really good idea. Thank you.
You got it.
But
You're welcome.
do you know him in person?
No, I do not. But if you meet him, tell him I want to meet him too.
Okay. And what do you think also about Hans Ulrich Obrist?
No, I don't know enough.
Okay. But do you think that these people are very important to catch them and to be like you say, like friends with them and working on them?
Yeah. I think it's most important to be real and to be sincere.
Yes, definitely.
And if you like them because you like them.
No, I like them because I see now that they're very acting in art. They're presenting art and they're doing. That is.
I'm not sure that's enough.
That's okay.
I think you need to like them because you like them as a human being.
Okay. I don't know them in person. I don't know what's.
But you have to have a feeling like this. I mean, like, there's some artists I really don't want to meet.
Okay.
And there's some artists I really do want to meet.
Yes.
And these folks, I mean, if you want to meet them because they can do good for you, they probably don't care.
Yes.
If you want to meet them because that you like them and you're impressed by what they've done for art or humanity, and you tell them how nice they are, then it's probably fine.
Okay.
Make it sincere.
Yes. Okay, thank you very much.
You're totally welcome.
I really like your whole videos also. I'm watching. Yeah.
There's a lot.
Thank you. Bye.
All right, you're welcome.
Bye.
Thank you. All right, you guys, let's wrap this up. This went longer than I thought, but I don't think we had any silly, wasted questions whatsoever at all. Let me repeat my spiel about the money for people who logged in from the wrong time zone or whatever. I'm doing this for you guys and me. I mean, I think this is a win-win situation. I feel like a better human if I do this and you guys get something out of it. And the course is $1,500, and you can pay me all at once, or you can pay me over a few months, or you can pay me over 10 months. And everybody gets a free one-on-one session and a whole lot of support from each other, you know, and it's pretty much fun, and it works. I'm going to unmute everybody. You can send me emails if you got questions. I think you guys are really interesting. I look forward to having a really good group form. Thank you all. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, Paul.
Bye-bye, all.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, too. All right.
Again.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Webinar. What we got? Goodie?